the future. By its very definition, it's an unknown quantity, something that is yet to happen. But that doesn't stop us from trying to predict it now, does it? How do you predict what the future is going to look like? You could look to Hollywood, the pages of science fiction, or perhaps to science fact. BMW, it would seem, has done all of those things to come up with its new car, the magnificent i8. It all starts with the way this car looks. I wouldn't even call it beautiful in the conventional sense of the word, but it's just so high on drama and panache. In terms of wow factor, there's no doubt that it's right up there with the most exotic of supercars. I just love the sharp angles at the front, the aerodynamic blades at the rear, and the way it looks like the body panels have been mounted onto the passenger cell, like some sort of robotic exoskeleton. It simply looks like no other car on sale right now. Before we set off though, we have to make sure the i8 is juiced up, and while the petrol tank was full, the batteries did need a top up. Luckily, the good folks at Jakson Power Solutions let us borrow some of their eco-friendly electricity, which came straight from the sun. Now that is what you call zero emissions motoring. All set to go then? Not quite, because getting into an i8 is a process as dramatic as the car itself. There we go. Now, like the exterior, the interior of this car can rival the best from Lamborghini or Ferrari or any of the sports car makers when it comes to a sense of occasion. It looks just great. It's also built fastidiously well, of course, being a BMW. There's a nice asymmetric layered design to the dashboard, and everything is angled towards the driver, even more so than in most BMWs. It's not just the look and feel of this thing, it's also pretty functional as well. I mean, visibility out the front, at the sides is great. Okay, it's not so good out the back, but we'll forgive it that because it's a mid-engine sports car. Apart from that, it's an all-digital dashboard. There is, of course, the iDrive screen over there, and I've got a digital instrument cluster in front of me that shows me all sorts of readings. As for practicality, there's a pair of seats in the back, but even kids would find the space a bit too tight. So it's best to use this space for luggage, because the boot found behind the petrol engine is tiny as well. Now, of course, it's what's under the i8 skin that is most fascinating. Let's start with the carbon fiber tub. BMW says that saved about 200 kilograms of weight, which is neatly offset by the 200 kilograms of batteries that sit inside here. The result is that it weighs about 1.5 tons. And to put that into perspective, a BMW M3, for example, weighs a bit more. That's not too bad by hybrid car standards. But on to this car's party trick, its powertrain. And here's where things get wonderfully complicated. At the front, there's an electric motor that powers the front wheels through a 2-speed automatic gearbox. At the back, there is a 1.5-litre 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol motor driving the rear wheels through a 6-speed automatic. Now that might sound a bit puny for a sports car, but get this, that engine alone makes 228 bhp. 228 from a 1.53 cylinder. Combine that with the electric motor at the front and you get a total of 357 bhp. And when they're pumping out their maximum, a whole 58 kgm of torque. That is really something. And if that wasn't baffling enough, it's the way this thing manages its power that is absolutely going to floor you. You can of course drive this as an electric vehicle, provided you have enough charge on the battery, but I prefer to leave it in either Eco Pro or Comfort mode, in which case it manages the hybrid system all by itself. In either of these modes, to charge the battery up, you have to either let it coast or hit the brakes for regenerative braking. However, this all changes when you tap the gear lever to the side and put it into sport mode. In this mode, the dials are glowing red and the engine is working at full capacity. It's always on, it's always trying to deliver the maximum thrust, and it's also somehow charging the batteries as a generator. But that's when you're driving sensibly. Go flat out and you will drain the batteries and the petrol tank alarmingly quick. You will, however, have a damn good time doing it. So the responses off the line are razor sharp. It's got a really strong electrically assisted mid-range. But if there is one shortcoming to this engine, it's probably that it doesn't have too much of a top end. Once you're at the upper reaches of the power band, power peters off, and it's probably best to go up a gear. The performance overall then is good, but not earth-shattering. The sensation of speed is helped by one thing though: the sound. Now, because it's an electric hybrid, of course, when you're driving in electric mode, it's a lot of whooshes and swooshes and hums. But put the engine on, and it makes a rather pleasing rumble. And this is a 3-cylinder, let me remind you. Okay, a lot of what you're hearing is because BMW chooses to pipe its engine note through the speakers into the cabin. But I've been outside the car and it sounds just as amazing from there. But what I find most astonishing is just how natural the whole process feels. I mean, you can barely tell when it's switching over from electric to internal combustion mode. And even the brakes, they don't feel wooden, they feel progressive and natural and rather good for a sports car. And that's really something special from regenerative brakes. But in any good sports car, the power has to be complemented by a solid chassis, right? As for the handling, well, we haven't had a chance to give it a proper white-knuckle handling test yet. But what I can tell you is that the effective four-wheel drive system gives it a lot of grip at the front end. But that having been said, it does use rather skinny tires, both front and back, for a sports car. And that means if you push it really hard, it will probably lose grip at the front. What's ever present though is BMW's legendary 50-50 weight distribution, which gives the car a lot of balance. It's a hugely competent chassis, but again, it's not the last word in seat of your pants thrills. And for the purist, there are others that can offer more. So what about the ride quality? Well, it is a little on the firm side, but I will have to say it's acceptable for a sports car like this. What is a bit more of a concern in our road conditions is the ground clearance, which is on the low side, and it's only made a little bit worse by the really long wheelbase of this car. So you have to be a little bit careful when you're crossing speed breakers in it. So the BMW i8 is not the perfect sports car, nor is it the perfect hybrid. In either case, there are others that do it better. But as a combination of those two ideas, it is something truly revolutionary. And there's nothing quite like it in the Indian market right now. But for all its hybrid tech, at rupees 2.3 crore, it is a rather expensive proposition, especially when you consider that you can get a lot more horsepower in some seriously thrilling cars for the same money. Still, there's no doubt that for a handful of people, the i8's futuristic styling, techie appeal and green credentials will be a big draw, and for them, it's certainly worth a look.